Hello. I'm trying to do my first edition of Cooking with Adams. We'll see how well this works. Tonight for dinner is going to be shredded chicken tacos using the Instant Pot. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the steps of how I'm making it, and we'll see how, if you ever want to make it on your own, I can get you the recipe for it. So first thing, we got some chicken. I've already started. That's a chicken breast. I put 3 boneless chicken thighs in the Instant Pot. With the Instant Pot, you put it on saute, on hot, put a little bit of oil in there. And then the next thing you're going to need is to slice some onions really thinly, and we'll get that going first. So what I'm doing here is I'm just browning the chicken thighs. We'll see how they're doing. And a little stuck to the bottom here a little bit, that's okay. And get that turned over. Browning it just gives it a good flavor. It's called the Maillard reaction. A lot of meat, that's where a lot of meat gets some of its more savory flavor. Beef is really important to get the Maillard reaction. And see how it's nice and brown, it's starting to brown a lot right there. This gives a little bit more of a flavor profile than if I just threw it in there without browning it. I think I'm going to squeeze those things over there and put the chicken breast in there too, just to save a little bit of time. Don't want to crowd it too much because you want it to actually cook and not steam. It steams and it's not going to get the Maillard reaction, so I want to make sure that the temperature stays nice and hot, and you do that by not overcrowding it. This is pretty close to being overcrowded, but not quite there. Alright, the chicken is done. I just put it on a plate. It did stick a little bit in the pan, but that's okay. We'll get that out of there. And then I put the onions in next. Just going to let those cook down for a little while until they start becoming soft. While the onions are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and measure out the spices that we need for this taco mix. So there I put my spices together. The spices in here are cumin, coriander, oregano, paprika, and a little bit of salt. Also, I minced up 3 cloves of garlic, so we'll throw those in there when the onions are getting a little bit more done. Alright, onions are getting done. Yeah, it looks brown in the bottom, but that's okay. That can be scraped up. So then I put the garlic in. I'm going to let that get there until it's fragrant. I can start smelling it. Now I'm going to put the chicken breast back in here. And once the chicken breasts are back in here, I am going to take juice these 2 oranges and these 2 limes, and I am going to put that juice in here, and then I'll put the seasoning and the spices on top of that, and we'll let that, and then we'll get the pressure cooker going here. Alright, before we get the Instant Pot going, I threw in all the spices. I also put about a half a cup of cilantro in there. I chopped it up a little bit so you can see all the stuff mixed together in there. I'm going to then set the Instant Pot and spread this chicken out a little bit here. So there's about a cup and a half, 2 cups of liquid in there, and that's what you need for the Instant Pot, because that's what has to get the pressure, and that means that there's plenty of liquid in there so it doesn't actually like scorch the bottom of it, or it actually gets up to pressure. So I'm going to be starting the Instant Pot here in just a second. So this is pretty simple. I love this machine, by the way. It's like my favorite kitchen gadget. And then I'm going to turn on the manual, and I'm going to set it for 12 minutes, and we'll wait until it's done. Okay, the Instant Pot is done, pressure's down, pin drop, you can take the lid off of it. So that's what it looks like inside if you can get past the steam. So there's a lot of liquid still in here. What we're going to do here is in just a few moments, I'm going to pull the chicken out, and we're going to shred that. Then we're going to put the chicken back in, and I'm going to turn it back on saute so that some of the liquid can boil down. See how nice and tender the chicken is? It's just kind of falling apart as I pull it out. That means it's nicely cooked. It should be pretty easy to shred, especially those chicken thighs. And the way I shred it, I use 2 forks to shred it. It's obviously way too hot to use my fingers, so we're just going to use 2 forks. And you can see the onion is nicely cooked, nice and soft in there as well. So that'll give that onion always gives it a nice little extra flavor to it. Most good cooking has onion in it. So I'm just going to put this on a cutting board for a moment and see all that liquid left. So all that you see, that's got a lot of the seasoning in it. There's still some seasoning on the chicken over here, but we're going to cook some of this liquid down. It'll concentrate a lot of the flavor of the orange juice and lime juice, and then but we're not going to cook all of it down because you want to have a little bit of liquid left in here. All right, there's my pile of chicken. Now I'm going to throw this back into the Instant Pot. There, added the meat back to the Instant Pot. Now what I'm going to do is turn it back on saute and let that, it'll warm back up again. But as it warms up, that liquid will start to boil, and the flavors will kind of concentrate on that chicken, and this chicken will taste absolutely amazing once it's all done. So it doesn't have to actually cook down that much because there's not a lot of liquid left in there. I must have bought a couple of smaller limes, but that's okay. But yeah, this will taste incredibly good once this is all boiled down, and then we'll be about ready to eat. So I let it cook down for about 3 or 4 minutes. A lot of the liquid's gone, but you still see there's still some liquid left in there, and that's a good thing. You don't want it to be too dry. So I'm gonna finish. My sides are gonna finish up here in a minute. We'll be ready to serve our dinner. So sides, very simple: white rice and black beans. They always make good. It's a good base of for tacos and such. So we'll get all that stuff finished up here in just a moment. But we're about ready to eat dinner. All right, well, dinner is done. I like to top mine with cilantro, cheese, sour cream, and a little bit of Cholula. I know that not everybody likes Cholula, but it is probably my favorite of the hot sauces that I put on tacos. So, and then the rice, you see the rice and beans. Put this nice flavoring called tahini on the rice, so give it a little bit of lime and chili flavor. So I'm ready to sit down and eat dinner. You can see my family is about ready to eat dinner as well. So until next time, this is Cooking with Adams.